Hey Stampy friends, welcome to the Joy of Stamping with Rachel. I'm Rachel Coon, and today, is our team kit, and we're using the Pick of the Patch stamp set. This is one of my new favorites from the mini catalog. It's not only a stamp set, but it's part of a bundle. So you can buy both of these together and save 10%. And if you're getting the stamp set, I highly recommend getting the punch as well. All right, let me tell you a little bit about this. This is my stamp set of the month. So if you were to order this in the month of September, which is basically over, but you have a couple days left. So if you order it the next couple days, you could totally get the cards kit that I'm making today in the video for free. Just use the Hostess code for the month, which will be in the links and comments down below. Of course, I love hearing from you. This is one of my longer videos. We'll be making 4 cards. And so when I hear from you, I love to hear which ones are your favorites, if you've never tried this technique, and anything you want to tell me about your weather. I love to hear it all. Let me show you a little bit about each card. These were highly designed with inspiration from Pinterest. One of them is case almost to the T, and other ones have amazing variations. But I chose these 4 as my share with you because they show off 4 different things. So we're gonna make one that has the pumpkins that are gonna be stacking, and then we have one that just uses the punch to create this awesome pumpkin patch right here. This one is really fun because we're doing some different type of stamping, and we punch out our pumpkins for this one as well. So stamp and punch. This one is just punch, this one's just stamp, and this one is no stamping at all unless you want to stamp something in the inside, and uses the designer series paper to create a cute little punch for this. On my blog is where you'll see all of the supplies I use in our today's kits. You're like, oh my goodness, where did I find that embossing folder? Or Rachel, what is this die that you use to cut out that amazing rectangle? You can see my blog for that, for links directly to my online store. All right, let me go ahead and get started with what I don't know if it's the easiest, but we're gonna start stamping first with this cute Daffodil Delight card base with our stack of pumpkins. Let me grab the kit, and we would like to use our our foam mat. This is what helps us when we're stamping photopolymer to keep it even and that the colors are nice and crisp and awesome. So we want that here. If you are a team member and you have this kit, this is where we'd have our card base, the Daffodil Delight. You'll also have the basic white piece, that's what we'll stamp on. And then you'll have a little scrap of paper for us to stamp our leaves with and to fussy cut those out. And then yours will not be already stamped, but it says thanks so much, which I did with the heat embossing Versamark heat tool and white basics embossing powder. And we will trim this down in just a second to make it fit. Let's go ahead and do our stamping first. We're going to grab our pumpkin pie, which is totally perfect for this pumpkin card. What we'll do, let me set this aside so we have a little bit more space, but we'll keep it in so you can still see it just a little bit, is that I grab my stamp, just the big one. If you look at that, there's 6 different sizes. 2 of the sizes this far to coordinate with the punch. These ones are just bonus ones. There's not a punch. You can fussy cut however you want. And you can kind of tell because this one has the bumps on the top on both of them, and this was just more of just a curve. So bumps are with a punch, no bumps is no punch. But what we're going to do is not use a punch yet, and we're just going to go ahead and ink this up nicely in our pumpkin pie, and we're going to leave about 3/4 of an inch available from our bottom here. So I'm going to come up just a little bit and come over. So we're not in the very corner. We're going to leave a little extra space. Then we'll press down and stamp that image. Oh, that turned out nice. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and wash this one off now, or else I will forget. And I'm just using a reusable wipe that I've gotten damp. And that one's ready for our next card we make. That's the only big one we're going to make. The rest of them are going to be that's medium size, also goes with the punch. We're going to ink that up. And what we're going to do is stack it. Since we can see through, we know exactly where we put it, but I'm going to have my stack kind of going off center. We're not going to have it perfect on here. We want it to look like it's kind of unbalanced. So we have 2 pumpkins. Now we're gonna go to our third. He's gonna be tilting a lot more. And if you overlap a little bit of your pumpkins, that is okay. I like to give a little bit of space between them so that we have a opening there. But we still have to touch the next pumpkin because we just can't have the pumpkin floating. That would not be stacking at all. So that's pumpkin number 3. Pumpkin number 4 actually will go a little bit straighter. It'll be right above our last pumpkin we just did, touching it completely. Some great coverage there. And then we're going to grab our tiny pumpkin, which is super cute. And we're going to grab this guy, ink it up, and he's going to be on the top. So he's going to be a little bit wobbly and more so on our far left side of the top of this pumpkin here. Oh my goodness, so cute. Okay, now we have our stack of pumpkins. We need to add some more. Let's go and put our pumpkin pie away, and we are going to grab our amazing Daffodil Delight. That's our next color of choice. We'll open that up, and we need to grab our leaves. So in this one has like a cluster of 3 leaves. Looks like they're falling. We're gonna go ahead and ink that up. And I'm gonna start on my bottom here. And I wanted to have it look like these are tossing and turning. So when I ink it, I'm gonna stamp it one way and then I'm gonna turn it as I go on to the next spot. And we're just have it surrounding our pumpkins completely on the bottom here to create this fun, whimsical pile of leaves that they're part of. It looks like they're kind of blowing in the wind. So we'll have some ups and downs as it keeps on going and go as far as you want across our bottom there. Then we want to have some leaves blowing, of course, on the top, right above our pumpkin here. And I kind of had it so the bigger leaf is on the top side. Those ones will get covered a little bit, so they don't need to be super perfect or seeable. Turn it, put some by your pumpkin, 1, 2, 3, number 3 over here. Have some falling there. Then this one we're gonna have right next to our second to top pumpkin, and we're gonna have, I like to have the tiny leaf on this one. Looks like it's kind of coming out of it. Turn it, have another one coming up a little higher. Looks like it's blowing in the wind from this and got away from our stack of pumpkins. This definitely looks like a card that has movement to it, just based off of how we stamp these leaves, which is really fun. And then we're gonna have, look like these leaves are falling down into that pile that we have down here below. We'll do one more to kind of connect them. There we go. Okay, go crazy or have as many leaves as you want, or not as many as you want. Just a couple, doesn't matter, it's up to you. Next we grab our garden green, which is a choice of green. I love this color combo with the dark orange and this very dark green. But a medium color of yellow. I'm not using crushed curry, which you could, but I like that it's a little bit more brighter. All right, now we need to grab our little cool vines. There's 2 of them, and we need to grab our leaf as well. So we'll start with our leaf, since we're gonna ink that one up. And then we're going to stamp 2 of them on our piece of basic white. That's our scrap. Make sure it looks pretty good. There we go. I'm going to do one more because I feel like that one didn't get as nice coverage. I usually do a practice stamp, and that probably would have been my saving point for that one, but no practice. The other 2 are perfect though. Then we're going to add 1 leaf up here actually to the top of our very top pumpkin. Nice. And we're done with the leaf then. And now we're going to grab our vines. For our vines, what we're going to do is grab our curly one. So there's, like I said, there's 2. This is our larger one. This is our smaller one. So our larger one is going to go first. And he has 1 little middle curl. That's what I want to see right there. I got a little bit of ink on my block. I don't want to transfer that to my paper, so we're just going to wipe that away. And we'll do a quick another ink up. These are very small stamps to have on a big block, so you'd probably be better off not having so much space in your block and having smaller blocks, but I ran out of blocks because I'm using so many stamps today. All right, let's come down here. This one's actually going to be down lower. I thought it was on the top, but it's near our bottom here. So our third pumpkin from the top, come down, space it out. You can see through, so you can see what you're doing. Put our cute little vine there. We'll have another one more coming down to our bottom pumpkin as well. Have it curl away. Cute. And that should be all for those two. The rest of them will be the smaller vine. Ink that one up. Oh, I might want to do a practice one on this one too. We'll do on our scratch paper here. Well, our paper cut, that looks pretty good. Come back to our top, have those two kind of connect and have a little curly Q there. We'll have one going underneath our pumpkin. Oh, there we go. One coming, we're going to join those two vines so we can overlap them a little bit and have it go over our leaves. The leaves are behind their vines. And do the same thing for the one right below it. And then we'll add two more to the far side on the other side of our pumpkin. Come back to that second from the bottom. Have it come into that white space that we left for it. Attach that one and one more to our very bottom. Cute, cute. Oh my goodness. This one's just so much fun. There is one more item I needed to stamp. So let me grab our little stem and our piece of basic white. Luckily, I saved myself a little bit of space, but I want to punch this one out. So I flip over my punch and see which direction my stamp is going so I can match that on my paper. So we grab my crumb cake, my little stem for my pumpkin, and I know that it's going this direction. So I'm going to put it right there. Nice. Now I can put that away. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and punch this out first so it's easier for me to hold on to by just sliding it underneath and punch, holding it still. There we go. Cute little stem. Pull that out. Let's grab our paper snips and fussy cut the two that we like the best, which were these two. And cut. If you don't want to be super detailed, feel free to cut off the little attaching vine to this leaf. But if you like it on there, keep it. It just takes a little bit more wiggle room time to get it done. Go around and around. If you want to make this extra nice looking and don't like that white bordering around our fussy cut, you could take a sponge and that garden green and go around it some more. I'm not too picky, and actually I like that little white edge. It's just fine with me because it's over white paper, so it kind of blends in. You don't notice it as much. If it was like uncolored cardstock, then you'd be like, oh my goodness, there's a huge white outline. Yes, that's what everyone thinks, right? No, nobody ever cares, really. Not really. Okay, let's go ahead and move this out so we have some working space and we can do some attaching. For those leaves, I would like to use my glue dots though, because I want them to pop a little bit, but not dimensional pop. So first, let's grab our stem. He looks really weird, super long and big on this pumpkin. It's not the right size. So we're just gonna take our paper snips and we're just gonna cut off the bottom. Or if you want it to have a skinnier top, ooh, maybe I'll cut off his top instead. You're probably wondering what's the difference. One has thicker and kind of like a curl to it, and the other one's just straight and a little bit skinnier. Which top should I do? I think we're gonna do the skinny top this time. Last time I did the thick top. So hold it onto the skinny side, cut off that thick top. You do cut across or kind of do a curve because a pumpkin has curve. Line it up, make sure it looks like it's a good size. Yeah, that's pretty good. Don't put glue on the back of that. That would be just silly because that's a tiny piece. So we're gonna put glue where we want to put it. You can use your take a pick tool or you can just grab it with your nails and slide it in to that pumpkin right there where those two, the leaf and the vine, join. Cute. Cute, cute. Next, we're going to add our leaves just by grabbing some glue dots, put it on the back of the biggest part of it, and then we'll attach our leaves. So we have one leaf going here with this nice cluster of the vines, 2 vines. Press that one down, and our other leaf is going to go on the left side, kind of give it a little bit of balance here. Leaf, leaf, leaf. And they're in a group of 3 because that's the magic happy number. There we go. Then we're going to measure this guy. And you could either trim him now, or you can attach him, then trim him. I'm just going to go ahead and trim him now. My tip to you, though, there's dots on the bottom. You're going to use those as a way to line up one dot to the top dot. So it's pretty straight, or you could put in your paper trimmer too, if you don't trust your paper cutting skills. You could save this and use it for somewhere else. It is a very cute little extra end of a banner. However you want to put that somewhere else. We don't need it though. All right, I do need dimensionals. However, let me grab those. I'll put that on the back of our label here for our thank you card. Thanks so much. 1 or 2 would be enough. And then we want to carefully attach it here so that it's pretty flush with our basic white. And we don't want to cover up our leaves. So I have it about between the 2nd and 3rd pumpkin. So it's not halfway, halfway would be down here, underneath the 3rd pumpkin. So between the 2nd and 3rd from the top. Then flip it over, grab dimensionals. You could just use liquid glue and attach this to your card base at this point. Because this does not have very many layers, I like the idea of having dimensionals to pop up this piece. Grab your card base and your bone folder. Remove the backings and let's attach. Okay. I know I said this one's probably one of the easier ones. It's just a lot of stamping. But it's so cute. Look at those. You could change up these colors. You can make these pumpkins pink. You can make them teal, a coastal cabana, green pumpkins. They weren't quite ready. They're more squashy. I love this. This is a little bit more traditional because a lot of mine are not. And so that's kind of fun. Hopefully you guys like this one as well. Thanks so much. We'll go ahead and set that one aside. Let's go along with our pumpkin patch that has been punched out, a harvest of blessings. This one has a basic black card base. We'll grab that one next. And it's using Them Bones Designer Series paper. So here you'll see that buffalo check on one side, flip it over, and we see some cemetery gravestones type of look. I'm digging this side, so we'll keep that side. You'll have in your kit, if you're a team member or if you buy the stamp set from me this month, all the other items you need, including the basic white, which is where we'll do our stamping, and then just our pumpkin pieces with our stems. And those are in the same colors we just used, which is that pumpkin pie and that garden green. Let me just toss these over though. We don't need those yet. And I'll give you the secret of the pumpkin building. Okay, grab your card base. Be sure to put a basic white in the inside of this because unless you're using a white gel pen, it's going to be hard to see anything you write. So black card bases need something inside. Go ahead and flip this over. And then we'll get ready to do our stamping as we let that dry. That was just liquid glue. There we go. Okay, set that aside. Grab our basic white. You could grab our foam mat back in unless you trust yourself. We're going to grab our Memento ink. I feel like this one's not a big image and I should be able to stamp it. If not, I will flip it over and then we'll grab our foam mat. A harvest of blessings. There we go. And stamp it. No, I'm going to do a practice stamp actually. That's pretty good. There we go. Maybe, oh, and I have black on the top. I don't want to transfer that. We'll do a quick wipe. And top right. Press down, straight up. Oh, that turned out great. Okay, now we can put that basic black away. And let's attach this to our basic black mat. A little bit of liquid glue. Flip it, stick it, set it aside to dry. And I'm using that base, that liquid glue, just so I can move it around. Make sure it has a outline on all 4 sides. Set that aside and grab our pumpkins. It's pumpkin building time. So you will have in yours 3 large and 2 small. What we want to do is give these pumpkins some texture, which would have been fun if I would have embossed them as well. That would have added texture to it. What we're going to do is just take our bone folder and we'll kind of do a curl to them. Is one method. You can go on both sides and curl it, kind of create some crack in the paper. I get closer, you kind of see that it's now has some shape to it. You could also grab it and just crumble it up in your hand. Kind of bend it, fold it. If you don't have a bone folder, that also creates some texture and bend to these. I like to kind of go where that little swoop is and go on one side and the other side to kind of give it a curl up and a curl down, creating that almost 3D look of a pumpkin, right? So curl one side with the bone folder by putting my thumb on top of it and then pulling, and it's kind of like holding it still on one side and pulling on the other, and it creates a nice little curl there where it once was straight and now it's bending. Okay, for our stems and our leaves, what I like to do for our larger pumpkins is have the stem on the front. So I'm going to put a little piece of liquid glue. I've punched these out using crumb cake, and we'll have the thick side up, and we're going to put our stem right about that middle hump and just a little bit down. If this was a real pumpkin, the stem would not be on the back side of it. It would be in the center, right? So that's the illusion we're having when we put it on the front. The back one, for this one though, I do like these ones on the back of the small guys because it doesn't need to be as big. I want it to be smaller, so long, and so this way I don't have to trim down the stem at all. I just can kind of have it going that way. It's up to you. You could have them both, having them on the front or have them both on the back. And that's just the way I preferred. Okay. Now let's go ahead and start doing our placement on our card. Let's grab our dimensionals. Actually, I'm going to dimension it at the end. Let's go ahead and just use this as flat paper. It's easier that way, even though it's going to come off a little bit, but that's okay. For the first ones, what we did is I did not use dimensionals for our big pumpkins. So I do use glue dots though, and I use the glue dots to attach the leaves. For all the big ones, I have the leaves except for one, so save one. All the leaves on the back side of our pumpkin. So this guy is going to go on our far side over here. So he's going to come, flip it, glue dot on the back. So it's just that leaf will be peeking from that back side there. Our next one is going to be on the other side of our pumpkin. So I'll put a glue dot on the front of it, peel it off, and put it behind our next large pumpkin there. And then our last pumpkin, oh, these leaves too. Use your bone folder or crinkle them up. Give those some texture as well. Those two are just going to be straight because I totally forgot to give these some extra texture by scrunching them up. And for these ones, I feel like the scrunch method, crumble up method is the easiest because they're so tiny. This one's going to go on the back side of it though, and we're going to attach it to our pumpkin. That will be over here. Okay, now we can start attaching these cute pumpkins with our glue dots to the actual piece of basic white here for our harvest of blessings. And we're going to take our cute guy here first, put a glue dot on the back. Sorry, that's off camera. Glue dot on the back. Come up a little bit higher. Make sure not covering up any of our words. Come at a slant and press down. Then we're going to grab our far right one. Grab some glue dot for him. Let me rip some more off so it's easier to see. Glue dot behind this guy. You can put on the bottom, top. It doesn't matter where, as long as he's attaching to our paper. We're going to have him come down here and press down. I didn't want too much adhesive on this because I want to keep the shape, right? I didn't want it to be flat to the paper. So one glue dot and we're good. This next one, similar, but a little bit over. one glue dot. Sorry, getting off camera. One glue dot. And we're gonna have him turn just a little bit so he's looking away from this pumpkin but getting closer to that pumpkin. And now we can use our glue dots also for our pumpkins on the front. So we'll put one on the back of our leaf and attach it to this guy here. His right side, we'll do left side for this next one. And so we have our last glue dot right here. So I'm gonna put it on the back of it, peel it off, and have that going at a fun angle. Cute. Okay, now we need our dimensionals. By putting one on the back side of each one. And putting it in this corner here, going at an angle as well. And then this one, it's gonna come here. You can have them straight if you want. Doesn't matter. You'll find a spot for them. Flip that over, add our dimensionals to this back side, and grab our dimensionals. We're going to cut some more because I ran out of my centered dimensionals, but that's okay. We just use our paper snips and create some more that can peel off easily. Give it at least 4. Almost looks like a jack-o'-lantern's face there. We've got some eyes, a nose, some crazy teeth here on the bottom. All right, get our card base back in and try to get that as center as you can. You can kind of use those DSP as a way to line it up there. And lastly, you should have a piece of this baker's twine that is tied in a bow. Add your knot to the dot, pinch it, and pull it off, and add it to our cute pumpkin here on the top back side. And that's it. That's our cute little pumpkin patch for that one. I just love the way that one turned out. Again, super inspired by Pinterest on this one. Just showing you the fun techniques of how to make those pumpkin patch come to life. All right, our next one we're gonna do uses an amazing technique here. We're gonna create a mask to create this really cool background. I did go ahead and I die cut some of those shapes there for the kit. It's called the Deckled Rectangle dies, and we have them in 2 colors. So I have it in the Cajun Craze and also our basic white. These will be our layers that we'll stack on there. Then it's the Early Espresso is the color of our card base. Grab that guy in. And I should have bone folded him yet because we're gonna stamp on this one. Let's get all of our stamping done first, and then we'll do our fun technique to create our background there. Okay, so card base, Early Espresso is our ink of choice. Make sure you guys can see still. There we go. Early Espresso. We're gonna grab the leaf one for this one. Oops, did I say leaf? I meant branch. So it has leaves on it, but it's kind of branchy. We only need to stamp along the outer part of the card. Everything else will be covered, but we do want to stamp in a way that's switching up the leaves that we see. Kind of like a wreath. You can even flip it over so it's now going this way. Some circular. They won't see a lot of this. A lot of this will be covered. Just a little tiny bit though. Have it going down that way. I should have a piece of paper underneath this. I apologize. I'm trying not to get it on my foam mat. You can even have them all going one direction if you wanted, and not have to do any of the turning of it. But it will be super cute. Just this extra little detail. Ooh, and I feel like I just got my fingers inky on this one. Hold on. We're gonna have to see how. Oh, it's not too bad. A little bit ink though. Let me grab my wipe. We'll clean that off, and hopefully not to transfer on anything else. Okay. We will need our Early Espresso out in just a minute, but I like to do that towards the end for that next one. And let's go ahead and grab, in your kit, you should also have some Very Vanilla. And we're going to do some stamping of our pumpkins on here. And then we're going to punch them out in our stems as well. I thought about doing a straight on color, and you can do that if you don't have the supplies you need. So this is what the regular pumpkin color would look like on here. And you could just do it that way as well. I really love this two-tone pumpkin though. Again, we get our punch out because that's what we're going to refer to as how we place this. So when we stamp, we want it to have it matching. So when I flip it over to punch it out, it's the easy punch. Okay, so for example, I'll make sure I stamp this one going this direction, so the bumpy side's to the left, and this one will be up and down instead, and it'll be that direction, and that'll keep it on the edge so I can get to it with my punch easily. Okay, so let's go ahead and do those stamping. For this little guy, we're going to use, let's see if I have it. Did I use it already or did I put it away? Oh, it's just hiding. We need the Daffodil Delight first is what we're going to do. And then we're going to grab our pumpkin pie. Yes. I need 3 colors for this. Let me make sure I have them all handy. So there they are. So we're going to do Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to ink it up, our stamp. We're going to flip it over. And we're going to grab our sponge dauber, which he was right here. Here he is. And we're going to grab our Cajun Craze, and we're going to sponge daub on the bottom of the stamp here. I'm keeping that daffodil out because we're going to use it again in just a second. So you take the tip, you put it in here. You can use your finger. You could hold it like this. It's up to you how you do it. But just dip it in your ink, and then go ahead and on your stamp, go on that bottom where we've already stamped that Daffodil Delight, just like that. That should create texture and a little bit of different coloring there. And then we're going to stamp that on the bottom, going the same direction as our punch. Ooh, nice. Kind of reminds me of a candy corn idea there, which is fun. All right, and then let's do our bigger pumpkin. For this one, again, we're going to do that first as our base color is the Daffodil Delight. So stamp that all in that one. Then we're going to grab our pumpkin pie ink there. And we're going to get our sponge dauber again. And we're just going to go over that. And we're going to go over the center of our pumpkin here, which is that pumpkin pie. Same sponge dauber. I'm not too picky. These are similar colors enough that I'm fine with it. I'm going to go ahead and ink the top of it, then with the Cajun Craze. Okay, that should be good. Come over here and press down. Ooh, and now we have a 3-tone, not just 2-tone, 3-tone pumpkin there. And that one truly does look a lot like the candy corn, which is super fun. Okay, we do need punches out. Let me see if I can do it without creating too much trouble. I gave myself enough space. I did. I could almost punch them out at the same time if I space it just right. All right, line it up. As I hold my breath, right? There we go. And punch out. There's one. Then we'll slide this guy over and start to push down to try to grab our paper without completely punching it though. I'm going to line it up just right. Almost. I'm so picky, huh? There we go. That looks pretty good. We didn't want to forget our stem. So it looks like we already punched them out, but we're going to go ahead and grab our stem again with our crumb cake. And we're going to flip this paper over. Again, looking at our punch though, we know that the thicker side needs to go to the right. So let's grab our stem, which I put somewhere safe so I would not lose it. And of course I did. Found it. He's just a little guy though. All right, grab our crumb cake, ink that up, and we're going to put that here on this side. This one, that looks kind of messy. We're going to try him again. That looks better. A better stem. There we go. Okay, this is on very vanilla, so I'm using it a little different than just a basic white. We'll punch these guys out, except for I didn't like that one, so we'll punch these two. Line them up. If you don't have the punch, you totally could fussy cut. You totally could. This one would be tricky though because it is so little. Okay. Those pieces are ready. We'll set those aside. Hopefully we don't lose them. Maybe we'll glue them on right now. Good call. Let's do some gluing real quick to the back of these pumpkins so we don't lose our stems. They're just so little. A little bit of liquid glue. One dot. Dot. And find our ones that we've actually stamped. Oh, let me grab my tape. There we go. Face it down so it looks like it's just very vanilla from this side. That's okay. Nope. Nope. Hopefully third time's a charm. Yep. And you might want to look on the back side, make sure it looks like it's long enough. That one looks good before we call it for good. Yes, that's good too. Okay, those can go aside as we now get out our very vanilla deckled rectangled piece here, and we're going to grab our mat. So on a piece of retired paper, I've created a mat using the sprig punch, and there's lots of ways to make mats. I like to use old cardstock because I like how thick it is. That's my favorite way to go. But so that's what I've done for you guys, and I just punched this out, and we're using the negative. So we use usually those are the parts that we actually want to keep. This time we're using enough space that we have this negative here. I'm using my blending brush, and I'm using my sponge dauber. So here's my blending brush. I'm going to hold my mat down, and the top ones I first want to have just that yellow color. So I'm going to go through and blend and try not to move. If you are a mover of paper and you feel like you can't hold this down tight enough while you're doing this nice little sponging and blending, then definitely get some washi tape or a Post-it note to help you hold it down. But I'm pretty confident with my skills of holding it that I feel pretty good. Okay. And I went a different direction this time. Okay, we're gonna go rogue. Okay, so we have our yellow ones. Awesome. Then I'm gonna turn it. So now it's going a different direction than I originally had. And we're gonna have these ones come over here. A little bit down, a little bit over. I'm gonna start with that same Daffodil Delight. I'm gonna have it going on the top parts of it though. So the closest things to our last that we just did. So a little bit of yellow. In fact, you could do the whole thing yellow again and then just go over a little bit with the Cajun Craze. So let me grab my sponge dauber in. Let me get this in so you can see as well. Ooh, I let go. Hopefully we're being brave. You're not supposed to let go. And I'm going to go over the parts that I did not do yet. And just do it. You only need to ink it once and just do a rub. Okay, nice. You have some cool two tones there. You can flip it over again and add one more coming down on this side if you want. It's up to you. My first one I had it going in a different direction, so we're going rogue now. And this one I would do completely in that Cajun Craze now. So I'm just gonna go over this guy and create him in this corner here. Okay. Cute, cute. You're wondering, what are the other parts in here? I do have another piece that is the leaf from this, the pumpkin punch. And I'm going to go ahead and use my blending brush and that Daffodil Delight and go over this guy here, this corner. Just be careful with that big side of it. I have those extra little colors there as well from these spots too. So usually when you use a mask, you want to have enough space that's covering it so that way when you blend it, it doesn't go over. We're just being crazy with this one. Then I'm going to take it over here and do that same color. I'm not going to even re-ink it. I'm just going to keep the ink I have on my brush, but I am going to come over with a little bit of this guy. There we go. So now that's two-tone, and you can add as many or as little of those ones as you want. I'm only going to do 2. I have 3 of those ones. I am, however, going to keep my, actually we're going to grab the pumpkin pie color, and we're going to do some little random splats everywhere. And then we'll add our crow and our branch and our greeting. Okay, let's grab the little cute splatter and the pumpkin pie. And we'll ink that one up now. I need a smaller block for this one, so I apologize. I almost want to switch it out, but that's okay. Start up the top, ink it once, and then just move. You don't need to have it, ink it again. Just have it going along, down. Then once it's almost gone, you can ink it again. Filling some of those gaps that we have here. Filling the space. Nice. Now let's grab our early espresso and our foam matte back end. These images are need to be a little bit more crisp. And I have ink all over my fingers and it's getting all over this, but it's okay. I'm not upset because this is supposed to be multicolored and who knows where things are supposed to be. It's not supposed to be perfect. My early espresso. Let's stamp our branch first so we know where things are hanging. I am going to do a quick practice one on this guy though, because I don't want to do all that beautiful work and be like, no, there was something in the way. Okay. And I do need a little piece of scrap. Let me throw this guy. Hopefully he's not meant for anything, because I don't want to have the whole branch on there. I'm going to have just a little bit coming off. Right about there. Press down. Nice. Keep him out. Let's get our bird. I tried the basic black crow, and I only kind of liked him. So I stuck with the early espresso. So we'll ink up our little crow. Do a practice if you think. If not, I'm going to be... Oh, nope, I'm not going to be brave. We'll do practice. See, his little tail feathers weren't as nice. Ink it up really good. Okay. And then have just one of his feet need to be touching the branch. It's just balancing here. Cute. And lastly, when you add our Happy Halloween, ink that up. Do a practice because I feel like that guy's missing. No, he looks good. Okay. And come down here just a little bit below our branch. Press down. Cute. Okay, now we're ready to assemble. Close up all of our inks. Even though my fingers are ridiculously inky, that's okay. We'll try not to touch too many things. And let's grab this guy, put some liquid glue on the back of him. Flip it over, attach to our Cajun craze. Nice. Grab our card base back in. And we're going to put some dimensionals now on the back of this one. One in each corner, at least. And then I usually like to do one in the center. Again, these are the leftover of my dimensionals, so they don't usually come in this random shape here. Flip it over, make sure it's the right direction. Have it so we have some of our early espresso shining through the back with our fun little leaves behind there. And then we need to add our pumpkins. So for this one, we definitely want some dimensionals for this one. We'll put one on the back side of the left of our pumpkin, and then one on the back side. Let me cut some more dimensionals on the back side of our smaller pumpkin, but that's going to be on the right side. So I'm going to look at it, say that's just the backing. Hold on. Where did that go? Okay, backing behind our right side of the pumpkin. I'm going to place this one down first, the larger pumpkin. Move the backing. There we go. And set it down right here in this corner. Flip this one over, have it going at a tilt a little bit lower than that first one, and that's it. Isn't that such a fun multicolored card using that fun masking technique? I just love that one. Our last one is our Designer Series paper card that we punched out our pumpkin. Let me clean up our space just a little bit. This one's fun because it has some really pretty embossing with it. for the extra detail. It has some amazing designer series paper as well. Let's grab those pieces. And this one is basically done for you. You could stamp the pick of the patch is what I would put in the inside of this card, or you can leave it blank and use this for anything. Let me grab my bone folder. We're going to go ahead and liquid glue our embossing folder for this one, our embossing folder, our embossed piece. And you could decide which way you want your leaves. I like the idea of my leaves being the top left, so it looks like they're falling down. But if you want them in your bottom instead, that is just fine. Make sure you wiggle it around, make sure it's where it needs to be. Okay, the tricky part for this one is just grabbing our baker's twine that's also in that smoky slate. I'm using Lost Lagoon and smoky slate, and just wrapping it around our designer series paper strip twice. This is 5 1/4 by 3/4, so it's not a very big piece, and makes it kind of tricky to tie a bow. So use whatever tips and tricks you might have. Sometimes people use tweezers to hold things in place. I'm just going to grab mine, and when I'm done, I will use a glue dot to help it once I'm done with my bow. Some people only wrap it around and then they don't tie a bow at the end. They hide it behind and then make a bow separately and make it look like it's attached on. So whatever way is your favorite, do that. I'm okay with the way that one turned out. So I'm going to grab my glue dot. I'm going to carefully stick it on the DSP, grab in the center of my bow, and place it there. And that just kind of helps hold it a little bit nicer. Flip this over. On this back side, we're going to use those dimensionals to help keep that in place as well. So grab your dimensionals, cover up some of this baker's twine. Have at least 3 on here, sides and middle. There we go. You could have no dimensionals on this and just lay it flat on there, and that would be just as fine. Oh, and look, mine's a little bit too big, so we need to trim that off so we don't have dimensionals popping through. Go about 3/4 of the way down, attach that here. Nice. Now when you grab our circles, these circles come from the Reach for the Stars dies. We retired a lot of our dies, but we do have punches now in the circle shape. So if you don't have the dies, you can use the punches instead. Okay, we'll just glue those 2 on. We do need to find my stem and glue that on the back. And I could have told you, you could have switched out your DSP. So I could have had it this way instead, but I do like the white pumpkin. So we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back to attach our stem. And then we're going to put a dimensional on the back of this pumpkin, so we can attach him to our circles here. Just like so. Flip this guy over. Now this is the tricky part. You can either have it dimensionals on the top and bottom and nothing in the center, and that will kind of keep it at the same level, kind of. Or you could do the center. I did it just on the center, but it makes it kind of like a teeter-totter. So if you like the teeter-totter, do center dimensionals. If you like it to be a little bit more secure, please go ahead and do top and bottom. So make sure we have our right top. There we go. Here's our top of that one. Here's our bottom. Remove and stick it over our fun little designer series paper there. And then we just need to embellish. I gave you rhinestones if you have my kit, but you can embellish literally with almost anything with this one. Let me grab my rhinestones though. And then this card will be done. This one probably was our easiest one. We probably should have started with this one, right? All right, here are my rhinestones. We'll pull it out. I like to have 3 different sizes. So we have our large right here. I'm going to put on this far left top. Then I'm going to go down with my medium size. And I'm actually going to put that medium size one on the pumpkin. For the first one, I did the medium on the leaf side. It's getting stuck to me. There we go. Nope. There we go. Cute little rhinestone on our pumpkin there, and then I'll do the littler one. I might need my tweezers. There we go. And we'll put it down there. Cute. So it's kind of at an angle there. All right. That's it for our designer series paper pumpkin. Super easy, punched out, has that great embossing folder. Create that background there. Let me get all of our cards back in. You tell me which one was your favorite out of this set of 4. If you're loving that awesome two-tone pumpkins, if you like your pumpkin patch where we just have punched it out, or if you are more of the stamper and you like to stack your pumpkins. Whatever way, I'm sure you will find a way to love this pick of the patch stamp set. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a comment, and happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.